Hi, my name is Robert Chelle with Chelle Law, and my law firm assists dentists and dental associates with employment contract issues. Today, I'm going to talk about a broad topic: what should you look for in a dental contract? So, lots of things to talk about here, but one is identifying whether you're going to be in employment or given an employment agreement or an independent contractor agreement. Both of those contracts are different, and some things should be included in one and not the other. Today, I'm just going to talk about employment agreements because that's by far the most common type of contract between a dental associate and a practice. So within an employment agreement, it will go through all of the kind of basic terms of the employment relationship. And so things to look for would include the length of the contract, which is called the term, how the contract can be terminated. And I'm going to spend a little time talking about this. So I see this a lot in dental associate contracts. I'm not sure why it's just in this profession, but every contract that you sign needs to have what's called without cause termination. And so there will be a clause that states each party can terminate the contract for any reason with a certain amount of notice to the other party. If it's missing the without cause termination, it's an enormous red flag. And the reason why it needs to be in there is the employer makes almost every job sound terrific. Volume's great, good people, proper staffing, good work environment. And then the dental associate gets into the actual job and it's not remotely what they were expecting. And so in that situation, if you had a 2-year contract and there was no way of terminating the contract without cause, you're stuck there for 2 years unless they breach the contract. So you always want the opportunity to get out of the contract with a certain amount of notice. Now, normally the notice period would be somewhere between 30 to 90 days in most dental associate contracts. The reason why it's a huge red flag beyond just not having the flexibility of leaving when you want is if a practice is not including without cause termination in the contract, it usually means they've had a difficult time holding on to dental associates. And so most of the people would leave through without cause termination. So they've removed that option to lock in the dentist. You absolutely do not want that to happen. So if you see an employment contract without cause termination, do not sign that contract. Other things that are certainly important to be in the dental contract would be compensation. So are you paid a base salary? Are you paid a daily rate, which is pretty common? Are you paid just on collections? I would recommend not signing a contract that's based purely on net collections if you haven't been with that practice previously. Maybe you're being offered a new contract. You understand kind of what the volume at that practice will be. But if you're paid purely on net collections, meaning whatever the practice collects from your specific services, you are at the mercy of the volume and at the mercy of the scheduling. And so the employer may, prioritize moving the clients to them versus the dental associate simply because it's more profitable for them to see the patients than the dental associate. So identify what type of compensation it is and make certain that it's fair. So talk to colleagues, go on the kind of the association websites and try to see what's kind of a standard amount and identify that. Are there any signing bonuses, relocation assistance? Do you have to pay it back if you leave early? That should be in the contract. Restrictive covenants are a huge part of every dental contract as well. So those would include the non-solicitation agreement, the non-compete, which is very important. And so you need to look at the terms of the non-compete. And any non-compete will basically state that the dentist can't work within a geographic radius of the practice for a period of time. So normally 1 to 2 years is pretty standard, and then anywhere between 5 to 20 miles, depending upon the state, is considered reasonable as well. what you don't want there to be, and especially as all these big corporate, dental conglomerates continue to gobble up all the smaller, dentist-owned practices. Many of these non-competes are stating you can't compete within 5 to 10 miles of every location, even the locations you don't work at. You don't want that, because there's 5 or 6 office locations in a city and it's 10 miles around 6 different locations, could effectively knock you out of the city. So you want to make certain that the non-compete is fair. And then benefits, usually those won't be specifically listed in a contract. Sometimes they are, but they'll usually be like an associated benefits summary that you should get a copy of. And then lastly, what are they going to pay for? So dental license, DEA registration, professional associations, continuing education. Those should be listed in the contract as well, and the employer should pay for those. That's just kind of a brief rundown of what you should look for in a dental contract. Obviously, there's many other things you can look at as well. Those are usually the most important things to most dentists. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, you can always contact my law firm at the phone number listed below in the description, or you can reach us through our website, chellelaw.com, CHELLE law.com. And I appreciate you watching the video. Thanks.